Maharaja's material, Maharaja's PhD publication in international academic and peer-reviewed journals. He frequently devotes to educate diverse audience on the values of love, peace, unity, diversity, self-realization, social development, and positive change, community development, conflict resolution, and organizational leadership. So, it's an honor to welcome Maharaj as our speaker today. So let's welcome Maharaj on his rightful place by 3 times loudly chanting. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. The Maharaj ki jai.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Janava Girva Sundananda Vajrana Yasudhanandana Vajrana Yasudhanandana Vajrana Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Ram Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada. Parivrada Katarya Astota Sukasi Sinan Divine Grace ISKCON Farmington Hills Abhachana Dena Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Papa Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Parahamsa Parivrada Katarya Astota Sukasi Sinan Divine Grace Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Papa Maharaj Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Gaur Ki Jai Prem Se Kahao Se Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Se Advaita Gadadhar Se Prasad Se Gaur Bhakti Ki Jai Se Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Syamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Se Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navadhi Maya Padam Ki Jai So Jagannathpuri Ayodhya Dham ki jai. Gangamaya Munamaya ki jai. Smriti Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi ki jai. San Veda Bhakti Devi ki jai. Nitai Go Krishna. All glories to the Son. All glories to the Son. All glories to the Son. All glories to the Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, thank you everyone for coming for this the gathering of the different Bhakti Krishna groups. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, we'd like to take a point from the Bhagavad-gita. All of you are familiar with this book, Bhagavad-gita, as it is. Familiar with this book? Okay. How many of you read this book every day? I read Bhagavad-gita every day. Can you show up? If you really read one line every day, or one word from Bhagavad-gita, at least your only book and you read some. This book, Bhagavad-gita, is not different from the deities on the altar. So how you treat the deities is how you treat Bhagavad-gita. Because Lord Vishnu, in this conversation with Lakshmi in the Gita Mahatmya, Vishnu said the Bhagavad-gita is not different from him. So Krishna was there before Arjuna speaking the Bhagavad-gita. And because Krishna is absolute, while his words are not different from his personality. So these words of Lord Krishna, this great classical dialogue, conversation, is Krishna's words directly. And so they are not different from Krishna. Just like you will not keep your deities, you will not put your deities on your laps. You cannot keep Bhagavad-gita on your laps. Can I tell you more? Bhagavad-gita. I don't understand that you don't feel so bad about all things. Yeah, so essentially we have to treat Bhagavad-gita the way they take care of the deities, because the worship of Krishna could be done by reading Bhagavad-gita. When you read Bhagavad-gita, you are worshiping Lord Krishna with your intelligence. Because Lord Krishna is answered. So we'll take a text from this great book, this great dialogue, and see what is most amazing is that this process of learning, I think in modern day, in academia, they call it pedagogy. But this is not just pedagogy. This also has some elements of andragogy. There are two different processes of learning. We have the pedagogy and the andragogy. Pedagogy means the professor comes to the class and downloads all of his stuff onto the students. That's pedagogy. And in most cases, these days, as I have learned from some of my students, the professor just comes. In fact, I was at Olive Harvey College in Chicago to give a talk. And I see some of the things that modern day pedagogy, pedagogical engagements undertaken. So in some cases, the professor just comes on, he says, you have this book, open to this stage, you have your, what do you call it? So open to this stage, you have this book, have you bought this book, open to this stage, or when you go home, you read from this page to this page. So learning is there are different approaches to learning. So there are two major processes or two major approaches, and they are either they are qualitative or they are quantitative or mixed. But the major two approaches are the pedagogy and andragogy. Andragogy means you're dealing with people who are not blank slates. They learn something. You can also learn from them. And you don't claim to know everything because you're not Krishna. Yeah, andragogy process of learning is, I prefer andragogy because you respect the audience, the people who are listening or the learners, because they maybe know better than you. I remember when we were in the doctoral program, so sometimes the PhD students, they correct the professor. The professors, they also know that they are not perfect, so they're open to correction. They're open to correction. So this dialogue in the Bhagavad-gita is more of a mix of both, because sometimes you also find Arjuna was making postulations and Krishna was listening. And Krishna didn't just take Arjuna for granted that, hey, you don't know anything, just shut up down, listen to me. No, yeah, tell me something. What do you have to say? So Arjuna makes his arguments, and Krishna debunks those arguments with a higher philosophical thesis. I mean, it's like you have a child. The child makes some propositions. It's not that you get angry with the child. If you tell the child, do this, and he says no, you start spanking the child. It is your responsibility as a parent to generate creative ways, critical and creative ways to engage that child, to dovetail their potentials in Christian consciousness. So in andragogy, the learner is also considered to be very astute in that field area. And therefore, the person who is giving the talk or is making the presentation becomes like a facilitator. And sometimes we, the parents, we think that we know everything else. And sometimes the student present, ask a question, and then we get angry. Instead of telling them, I don't know this, I will go and investigate, we get angry. Isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah, I got a number of experiences, situations of kids very inquisitive. I remember one of my friends in Philadelphia, when his son was young, like 5 years or so, he bombards him with questions. They're going to some place, he's in a car, that's the place. And some of the questions, he had no answer. He was wondering, where did he get all these ideas? But the children, they are not blank slates. You wonder why they're born in this type of environment? Because they've been yogis, devotees in previous lives, they didn't complete their program, and so they take that in this type of an environment that will enable them to take part in Krishna consciousness without any hindrance. So they have the whole chunk of carried over spiritual information culture. You can't say because your child is 5 years old and so they are blank slates. No. In fact, in some cases, they make arguments with you that, you can make a counter argument to defeat them and then you just get angry. It shouldn't be. That's your responsibility. So the Bhagavad-gita is more of a mixed breed, pedagogy and andragogy. We find that at some point in time in our lives, we will be at a crossroads. Life will drive us to a crossroads. We will be having choices that we will be confused about how to make and be able to move forward in a favorable way in Krishna consciousness. And that's the time that we need a teacher to guide us. We need a teacher like Arjuna to clarify the ambiguities we're having regarding what is before us. So, in process of Krishna consciousness, or Krishna mentioned in the Gita, Tad Vidi Pramipatena Paripasnena Seva Upadishyanti Te Jnana Jnanina Tapchadash. We need teacher, we need transcendental teacher, we need Vaishnava teachers, we need pure devotees to help to guide us when we are pushed by material nature to the brink of a crossroad. And so the whole of Bhagavad Gita is about getting clarifications about our doubts. So we want devotees to understand that and to invite a culture that when you come into this moment, this is not another mountain. This is an ashram. Ashram means a place where spiritual knowledge is cultivated. Cultivated means what? You hear the thesis, you hear the constructs and concepts, you hear the theoretical frameworks, theoretical concepts, and the next stage is the implementation. Then you can have realization. You can have a lived experience. I mean, it's like you hear fire is hot or fire burns, and then you are confused. Fire burns, what does that mean? You may have a theoretical idea about being born. You might have had it, but that is just a theoretical concept or a conceptual framework. Now, if you apply that very theory to address the situation, or you want to have the experience yourself, that's when you have the realization. And Krishna consciousness is about realizing the theoretical concepts or the theoretical frameworks. What Lord Krishna has postulated in the Bhagavad-gita, we need to have that lived experience. That is by practicing Bhakti Yoga, practicing service to Krishna, service to the devotees, service to the Vaishnava community, chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Is there anybody here who doesn't know this mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna? Don't feel shy, let us know. Okay, so yeah, that's what we call assumption. We assume that all of you are chanting, even in this one round. No, I've not started chanting. Raise up your hand. Let's see. Apparently, everyone here started chanting. So, the idea is that we cultivate the chant. Cultivate. If you have a farm, a garden, you cultivate the garden, you clear the field, you till the soil, you plant, you plant some seeds, some vegetables, and you have to also monitor it, water it. Weed check, the weeds are coming up, you clear up the weeds, and you watch your garden grow. That's a cultivation. So Krishna consciousness is also a process of cultivation. In the sense that we are told, Krishna is told Bhagavan Swami, and that we need to approach Krishna through his representative. Now, we don't have the guru sitting here with you. We travel all the time. Sometimes one could ask, oh, my Guru Maharaj, yes, how do I know? How do I know I'm pleasing you? How do I know that you are pleased with my service? I had this question about 3 decades ago. A lady asked her Guru Maharaj, she visited her center and she raised this question. Guru Maharaj, so you don't come here all the time. You come here only once in a year, or at best twice in a year. So how do I know when I'm pleasing you? And the Shastra says, Yasa Prasada Bhagavad Prasada, Yasa Prasada Nangati Putu. You please the Guru, you're guaranteed Krishna is pleased. How do I know you're pleased with my service? So the Guru is passed away. The Vaishnava Guru, he said, yeah, he told her, approach the management, get some service. Get some service. So it's a simple process for us. Get some service in the temple. And render service, that is direct service to Krishna. And when your management or when your immediate boss is satisfied with your service, your temple commander is satisfied with your service, you should know that Krishna is satisfied. That's how it works. So we could have some excuse that, well, my Guru Maharaj is not here. I mean, I don't know how to render, what service to render to please my Guru Maharaj. He didn't give me direct instructions. Some of us were given direct instructions, so it's a very simple thing. Work according to that. But what if you don't receive direct instructions from your Guru? You have to work, you have to do some service. Important thing is that we render some service. We take some service, we take some responsibility in the temple. If you're in a Bhakti Vriksha group, you take some responsibility in that Bhakti Vriksha. Idea is to be engaged. Engage the senses in the master of the senses. Rishikena, Rishikesh. And Rishikena, Rishikesh. Bhakti. Worship. So, Krishna is Rishikesh, is the master of the senses. When we engage our senses in the master of the senses, we become purified. Krishna is pleased, the Guru is pleased, Prabhupada is pleased. We may not see Prabhupada, Prabhupada is there. We may not have the potential to communicate with Prabhupada. So we communicate with his representative, our Bhakti Vriksha leader. They ask for engagement. And they will give us some service. When we're on the service to their satisfaction, you know, Krishna is rich. That process is very simple. It does not require any abstraction. It's a very simple process. But even simple processes, we human beings, we can make even simple processes very complex. We like to make simple processes complex. I mean, it's like you find a professor, they speak in a language that nobody else can understand. Only they will understand what they say. So, yeah, they like to make the things complex to make people feel that, oh, they know so much. They know better. Yeah, this is the material world. We take simple things instead of saying the simple things in a very simple way, we make it complex. So even in devotional life is very simple. Yeah, again, because we are human beings, we can make it complex. But there's no need for that. Therefore, the process of devotional service, it is required that we chant Krishna's names every day. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. And the chanting, it has to be from the beginning. We should start with to cultivate the chanting, because the chanting is a prescribed method for attaining Godhead, attaining love of Godhead. Krishna Prema Pumatoma. Attaining love of Godhead is eased by the process of chanting. In Kali Yuga, there are other processes of realizing the absolute truth in other ages, in previous ages. In Dwapara Yuga, there was temple worship, deity worship, detailed, complex deity worship. And Prabhupada said, if I tell you all the details of the deity worship, you will faint. So, what we have is just to be able to enhance the quality of our chant. And so it is important, when we come to the devotional time, we should know what is the most important service. Who can tell us what is the most important service in devotional service? Anybody, lift up your hand if you know. Yes, Mukunda. Chanting the holy name. What's the proof? So, everybody, what do you mean by everybody? Have you studied that? You mean you studied everybody? Smart boy. And not, he doesn't only say that. He's 10 years, but he chants 16 rounds. So, listen, you have very, very promising future in your community. When you have kids, 10 years old, they chant 16 rounds, and they are serious with their education. The sky is the limit of their devotional and spiritual success. Not everybody in this moment, not every child of 10 years old chants 16. I've gone around, even some of these kids, even, so sometimes I used to make, I crack a joke. Are you waiting until you start having children before you chant 16 rounds? that then could be very complicated, because then you have an extended responsibility, expanded responsibility. You saw Prahlad Maharaj said, devotional life practice of bhakti should start from a tender age. Prahlad was instructing his friends at school about the process of devotional service. And he said they should start it now. Now that they are young, they should start it. And some argue that no, we are too young for this type of, this type of devotional life. When we're getting older, then we can do it. And then the fact is, no one can really say they are young, or no one can really say they are old, because our lifespan on this planet is just max 100 years, average 55 or 65. Most people don't even get to 100 years. So essentially, we have to take advantage of the human form of life and the fact that we are being exposed to devotional life, legacy of power. That is the greatest blessing. Because a number of people, they don't have that great fortune to be exposed to Krishna consciousness or to practice Krishna consciousness. Some people, they even worship Krishna or worship Vishnu, but they're not lucky enough to worship, to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. And I met people, and I know some of my students, even one of them, she was telling me about her family. Family, they worship Krishna, but they don't chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Some of the traditions, they don't chant Hare Krishna. Yeah, they worship Krishna, but they don't chant Hare Krishna mantra. But the chanting of the holy names, specifically the Krishna Maha Mantra, is the recommended process to easily become free from the entanglement of repeated birth. And so we should encourage our devotees, no matter what we do. See, I go to universities, I go to corporate institutions to present, sophisticated stuff, because I have to speak in the language. For instance, the last research that I conducted was on sonic therapeutic intervention for preventing financial fraud. A technological study. Then, what can you make out of that? What is the meaning of that? I remember I went to a presentation in Calcutta one time, some years ago. I came back from the presentation, academic presentation, and one devotee is even a graduate. He went to college, he has a degree. But this brahmachari, we are friends. So he asked me, so Maharaja, where have you been? I said, I went for a conference. So what was your presentation? What was the topic of the presentation? I told him. He said, what does that mean? You want to know? So, okay. Yeah, so sonic therapeutic intervention for preventing financial fraud. All the content of that research is how chanting Hare Krishna prevents crimes such as financial fraud. It's just that research was conducted, presented in the language of the management scientists. And you know what? They gave the presentation an award, best presentation award. And then they had it published in the International Journal of Mechanical and Industrial Engineering. The same simple thing that we can say, very simple, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. And when they say chant Hare Krishna and be happy, they say, I don't believe in God. So you package it in the way that is sellable, that is marketable, and then it's like, a subliminal advertising. In this country, whatever you are able to advertise repeatedly, you get customers. Because subliminal advertising has an impact on behavior. When I reflect on that research, I just smiled back and said that this so-called scholars, they're terribly brave. You talk it in a simple way, they will reject. You put it in a sophisticated way, and they tell me no. I love this. Yeah, so this Krishna, chanting of Krishna's names. See, a lot of researches have been conducted on chanting Krishna's name, especially in the area of promoting mental health. The recent research that was published in one of these psychological journals is on how chanting helps to mitigate insomnia. A pure scientific research was conducted by, I think, about four medical doctors. Conducted the chanting process, measure the brain functional notations in a randomized study. So our process is very scientific. And now our devotees are bringing up being able to present this whole Krishna consciousness, especially the process of chanting, in a scientific way, and then the scientific community I am present. I remember my research that was published by this World Academy of Science, Engineering, and Technology in London. When I went to their website, after 2 years, after 24 months, when I went to their website, over 500 professors had downloaded that. It means over 500 professors started romancing with the holy names. Yeah. So Krishna consciousness is here to stay. And we can be part of that wonderful process that Prabhupada has spread all over the world. And sometimes we may tell our kids to chant, and then the kid says no. The problem is the number of the parents are not able to present the reason why, the enabling factors of chanting the holy names. Because children, they don't know anything about it, say, going back to God. No. What is this thing going to do to me now? If you say, oh, we are prisoners, you chant and this will take you, at the end of this life, you go back to God. What am I to do with this end of this life? Come on. Oh, yeah. So, we have to be able to, I remember I was in Calcutta. So, we had a program in one of my aspiring disciples' home. And this couple, they had 2 kids. One of them is doing his master's in one of the Indian IIT. And then the first child is a girl. She's doing a PhD in quantum mechanics. And so she's not chanting. All of the parents are involved, seriously involved in the devotional service. So, but she was there for the program because she happened to visit the parents during that week. She was in another city doing a doctorate program. So as a scientist, she wanted to know, what would I benefit from this? I remember the question she asked during question and answer. She said, Maharaja, what is there in the chant? No words. What is there for me in the chant? What am I going to gain? So those are not people you tell, chant on behalf and go back to God. They have lost so much to do, and you're telling them to chant, to go back to God. Yeah, so especially in our Bhakti Vriksha programs, we have to see how we are presenting the philosophy, the teachings of Prabhupada, in addressing the needs of our audience. Sometimes I go to places and, like I was in Nepal, and so these devotees, they said, oh, we'll put you on Sunday class, we'll put you on this program, we have one program, we have this. So I asked them, what is the topic? He said, Maharaja, it's up to you. I said, no, it's not up to me. You are on ground, you know the needs of your audience. Can you give me some idea about the needs of the audience? What is the background of our audience? What are their needs? Because as a professional educator, in education, we are after addressing people's problem through presentation. And the same thing is applicable in management science, where I major in my PhD program. One of the first questions that arises when you're conducting a research in management science is, what is the problem you're trying to solve? What is the problem you're trying to address? So people have challenges, people have problems in their lives. Therefore, the preachers have to see, and Prabhupada is very expert. You read Prabhupada's purpose, you see this type of application in his teachings. Prabhupada talks about politics, Prabhupada talks about leadership. Then he gives you the idea on how to overcome some of these challenges in society through the Vedic teachings. So yeah, the Bhakti Vasudeva programs, they are essential tools for transforming community, transforming families, transforming individuals. And therefore we should be expert. We should have the expertise in having interpersonal connections with members of Bhakti Vasudeva. If we don't see them once or twice, we should be able to call and find out, ask them how they're doing. Otherwise, people feel neglected, that you don't care about them. Because you don't see them this Sunday, you don't see them this Wednesday for your programs, and you never care to ask. We are cultivating people. We should take a position of humility to be able to help foster the growth, the spiritual growth of members of our communities. That's what people want to see. They who don't care less about how much we know. Do you care? Are you showing concern and love? That what captures people's attention. I remember one boy here from Detroit. One time I came to Detroit, so he was doing his master's at the time. So he finished his master's, and then I was away. I traveled out to some other country. I don't know whether it was South America or Africa or India. I don't remember the exact continent I was. So I called him just to find out how he's doing. That touched him so much. When I came back to the US, he invited me to come for one of the retreats. So he paid for my ticket. And so when I flew in, I chastised him heavily that, see, you're a small boy, you just started walking, you have to use your money to come and pay ticket for me to find your wife. You should have told the temple management to do this. And then he said, oh, Maharaja, you don't know what you have done. I said, what did I do to you? He said, you are away in another continent. You called me for nothing, just to ask me how I was doing. He said, even my parents don't ever do that. They call me for money. So people feel cared for, they feel loved. We want to reach out to them. Because Krishna mentioned that we conditioned souls, we have expertise in exploitation, exploiting the resources of material nature. And people come to a spiritual community, they want to see how we are different. Different in terms of love and care. And how will we say we love someone when we don't communicate with the person? We don't know how they're doing. So yeah, this culture is deficient in our communities. And in most cases, we reach out to somebody. I don't know what the case is now, but I know in the dance, in the years, we reach out to people, we reach out to our members when we want donations. Then it becomes like a business transaction. You want money, you call. You want some donation, you call. You want some service, want me to come and do some service, then you call. So that is transactional management, transactional leadership. It's called transaction. It's one model of leadership, but it's transactional, as the name implies. Okay. So we are a faith-based nonprofit. Faith-based nonprofit. The service providers are volunteers. We're not being paid. There's a different approach to managing such people. It's a different approach to what we have in the corporate institutions where the workers, employees are being paid. Here, we are all volunteers. And then what makes this condition very unique is that even a child here, most some could be grounded in philosophy. So they know. You say something, they know. This is something that they've never had before. And they sit back and say, it seems to be new, right? So even the kids, the grounded in philosophy. And what makes ISKCON a little bit difficult to manage the individuals is that everybody tend to claim that they know it all. And that makes it very challenging. And so it's not like the corporate institutions where people are being paid, and even when you know it all, you just, follow the flow, follow the instruction from the CEO, from the CFO, from the manager. Here it's not like that, people are not being paid. So except we extend that loving care to the people in our Bhakti Vasudeva programs, our Bhakti Vasudeva groups. Bhakti Vasudeva says that we should think about the person we love the most, and we should extend that love and affection to other members of our Bhakti Vasudeva. Then they become, they will have a sense of belonging. They will feel wanted. They will feel that responsibility. They will challenge themselves to be able to figure out ways to do something about it. And when people come to our Bhakti Vasudeva program, we should teach them by example service attitude. That is exemplified by Prabhupada. When Prabhupada was having Bhagavad-gita classes at 26 Second Avenue, even just an apple that Prabhupada would eat, he will cut the apple to pieces and share it amongst the people, the hippies, the potheads, the bohemians. Papa was just an elderly person compared to the age of those guys. It could be some of their grandfathers. But then they saw the service attitude of Prabhupada, how Prabhupada was lovingly disposed, he was caring, he was fatherly. But then they joined into service. Yes, so when people come, we should serve them. And this will enrich the growth of our Bhakti Vasudeva programs. We should be open to responding. We should communicate. We should, and above all, Prabhupada wanted us to cooperate. He said, if we love him, we should cooperate. So all of our devotees have to understand this, that this is a movement that the foundation is based on cooperation and trust. But we have to live transparent lives for people to trust us. If our lives are transparent and our love and care is consistent, consistency engenders trust. And when people trust you, they can go the extra mile to do something positive to surprise. When they trust you, they can go the extra mile to do something positive to surprise. So we have to know and imbibe a culture of cooperation, culture of consistency in terms of our loving and caring disposition in motivating and inspiring the devotees, back to person groups. Any comments? Yes.
Thank you so much for wonderful insights here, especially when you talked about the term called as transaction management. I just did I give it correctly? Thank you. I was just thinking about in terms when we talk about the Bhakti Vriksha and then investing in the relationship. There are two concerns or two things which I lack clarity on, and I will understand what am I missing there. So two aspects is, one is investing in that relationship brings a kind of a social gathering, which is we reach to understand one thing which I see devotees come together. I'm not supporting anyone, but overall in general, come together, meet each other, how are you doing, everything, it's just social gathering. But nothing comes up on the surface saying that I'm struggling on my sadhana. When I check my 16 hours, I'm not able to focus on my own. That's one aspect. The second aspect is with the culture which we are living in, there is a kind of a silo, which is I want to live in my own personal life. We are nice to each other, but when someone says, what is happening, why you're not coming for Mangalarti? I would say, my hero business. So we want this movement to grow. We want to assist Srila Prabhupada's mission, and we want to serve Srila Prabhupada's mission. But I talk about myself. I feel I'm a complete failure if I'm taking care of Bhakti Krishna. But when I have certain moods like that, because I'm failing, if I'm not able to serve Srila Prabhupada's mission, definitely there is something lacking for me. Or I have to understand, again, the point which you talked about from the modern terms, we need to revive ourselves, how do we preach, how do we present ourselves. And I think that's a wonderful point you brought it. And I want to see guidance to understand how do I actually modernize myself to take care of these two challenges.
So, Paul, thank you very much. I'd like to address the point one of the points you made here very quickly. Like someone did not come to Mangarati, and he asked him, why did you not come to Mangarati? Now, we don't have a right to ask anybody, why didn't you come to Mangarati? Why you don't come to the program? Why you come to class? Because this is America. And so people want their space. Sometimes we think they're helping someone, but they view it like an intrusion into their privacy. Or you want to control them. So when we build strong and deep relationships, we can foster that point of inquiring, what happened? How is your family? How are you and your family? Is everything okay with you and family? Now, how many of us call other divorces in the community just to ask, or Pambu, or Mataji, how are you and family? Without any motivation, nothing. You just call to say, so everything's okay? How are you doing? How is Prabhu doing? How is Mataji doing? How are the kids doing? Is everyone faring well? People value that like you can't imagine. We hardly do it. And we're living in a culture with the highest philosophy on the planet. Philosophy is one thing to implement. We have in philosophy what we call applied philosophy, application of the concepts and constructs in philosophy to be able to create transformative change. Yes, we have the highest knowledge, but I think in most cases, the implementation is a problem that we have. For instance, Rupa Goswami has given us fundamentals on how to create relationships, loving relationships, in the Upadeshamrita. And if we implement that, we can create sustainable relationships. Now, how many people have someone in their lives that they can confide to their challenges and their happiness? If that is not, that person may not be your spouse, it may not be your parents, it may not be your child. It may be somebody who is even outside of your family, but you have a deep connection. You have challenges you're able to share. Because Swami said, we should have a confidant, at least a confidant in our lives. Otherwise, we are on an edge. Because something happens, we will not be able to share the challenges we have, and those traumatic experiences we may be exposed to at work or anywhere else. We don't have someone to share with. They will build up. And someone does a little thing in the family, your child or your spouse does a little thing in the family, and you pass the ball. Boom. And then the person wonders, what did I do? You're passing the ball. You don't have anybody to share your traumatic experiences with. You don't have anybody to share your challenges at work with, or challenges that you have experienced outside. So you come and then you pass the buck on one member of your family. And this is America. Someone can put you to jail, a family member can put you to jail. I remember one of my mentees, she got married, a white lady, she's a professor. She got married to one guy, and he put the guy into jail. He called the police, put him to jail. The guy did something, I won't tell you. The guy committed a crime. And the high profile people are very conscious of their rights being abused, or someone commits a crime against it. It can be their spouse. They won't care. The relationship is like on edge. So she called the police and put the guy into jail. So, behavior, character, Papa talks about character. I was already reading some of Prabhupada's conversation with some people, and he was talking about how the Krishna consciousness, the preliminary element, he said, look at all these boys and girls, they're Americans, but their lives are transformed. I didn't charge them any money. The mantra was free. I'm not forcing any one of them. But their lives are transformed. The character. One of the symptoms you find in the transformation of any devotee, any person who takes the process of Krishna consciousness, symptom is that they have character development. And character development entails a lot of things. So Rupa Goswami has given us instructions or given us some idea, some strategies on how to develop relations. We may talk about Krishna. How many of us come here and then we talk to Krishna? Then we can talk to devotees. And establishing loving relationship with devotees is even more appreciated by Krishna than trying to love Krishna. If we can't love the people around us, we can't love the people in our family, how are we going to love Krishna that we don't even... Yeah. So, yeah, we need a serious reformation in our modus operandi, in our operational ways and manners. We need a lot to improve to create a sustainable environment in our communities. And so, yeah, if you are close to somebody, you can tell them the worst thing, and they will laugh. They will smile. They will say thank you. If the relationship is formal, you ask them, why did you come to our Sunday program? You want to control me? You think I came to this program because of you? You want to control me? Control your senses before you try to control me. Yeah. I remember when I was still in Africa, I had a friend. So this boy, this devotee was so tough. Many people in this community complain about it. But he's so tough that nobody dares talk to him. So they know I'm his friend. So they come. People who feel hot, they come to tell me. So I got really I got fed up, so I mustered the courage. I said, I have to address this. We're very close. In fact, I'm his only close friend in the whole community. He's that tough. I make friends with people because one of the things I learned in college is the psychology of adjustment. I can adjust myself to get along with anybody. So I was playing out, it's late now, he just died last year. And so one day I decided to address this issue. I said, if even you punch me, I don't mind. Let me address it. So I suggested to him we should visit the farm, the farm community. So we went, he agreed, we went there. And so then I suggested that we should go for a walk into the woods. So he agreed. We went to the walk. So as we were doing the jump into the woods, I sat him down and then told him all the complaints I've been hearing about him. And at some point in time, my voice was really high. I got really infuriated. Tension built up because I've been receiving, people have been dumping all these things on me about him. And so all those things, I got overwhelmed and like, we terribly heavy. But we are peers. Well, I don't have any right to do that. But because we are friends. So I expected that he would tell me, okay, from today, Vasudev, no, get out of my life. No. And when I finished all of my venting, he said, Vasudev, you're my friend. Anything you say, I take it. Relationship. That is somebody that nobody in the community ventured to tell him anything. Yeah, so if we create some good, positive vibrations in our relationships, if even you tell them something, it's like even your own child, if the child perceives that you love them dearly, I was just watching a short video clip. So this lady, he asked the daughter, I think about 2 years old girl or something like that. So she was sitting with the daughter, and then the dad just came in. A young couple. The dad just was just coming in, and then she told the daughter, "Oh, dad is here, dad is here." So the daughter was also excited. But before the dad came in, he asked this girl, "You love daddy, correct?" She said, "No, I don't love daddy." She said, "Why not? It's your dad." The little girl, you know, what she said really touched me. He said, "Mom, I don't love daddy." She said, "Why?" He said, "Because he doesn't understand me. He doesn't understand me." He said his father does. She said her father doesn't understand her. 2 years old girl. It's not the first time I'm encountering similar things. In India, I had this, my friend, medical doctor in Delhi. So the wife normally would want me to come over for lunch. So one day I was there, I was waiting for the husband to come. He had 2 kids. The older one is a girl. That time, I think she was like 10 or 12 years. I was waiting for the father to come from the hospital because he has a big hospital, same building. This girl came to me and was complaining about the father. Seriously. What is the major complaint? She said the father does not give her time. And for an Indian girl, Indian kids are very, very respectful towards their parents. For an Indian child to come forward to report, and you know, she called the father. She was addressing me. He said, "Your friend did like this to me. Your friend did like this." She's referring to the father. "Your friend is not giving me time. Your friend is not coming to play with me." Children need your time. Children need your quality time. If you're not prepared, why you invoke the children into this world? Why see, okay, you are inviting me to come to Farmington Hills. You don't have a place for me to stay. You cannot prepare what I'm going to eat. Why you have to send me, why you have to ask me to come? So if you are not prepared to give quality time to kids, why are you inviting them to come? See, the kids, they may not come to you, the parent, and say this. I'm just telling you my own lived experience that these kids, they come to me and complain about their parents. But see, if we go beyond just the parenting, we also invoke love and friendship in a relationship. If they will do something that the kids don't like, they will tell us. But the relationship is just formal. And so they don't have the guts to come forward to tell us. And so, yeah, we have a responsibility to nurture our children. We may be very big preachers, but charity begins at home. We have to nurture our children. We have to give them that spiritual nurturing sociological, emotional support, and everything else. Otherwise, the children grow up and then they're waiting to graduate from college. Even before, but at the admission, I've seen this with, even just recently, I saw one of these boys. When I was in Portland, I stayed in Seattle. I stayed in India home. So they were very small kids when I was there. Now, two of them are in college. And from Seattle, there are good universities in the West. From Seattle, they came all the way to the East Coast. Only Nemo College. Some of the kids, I tell you one thing, it's not just because of good schools, they want to be completely away, far away from their parents. But another child, schools in China. He did aeronautic engineering in China, graduated from there. He got a good job, a very, financially oriented, profit-oriented job. Then one day, he just bought his ticket and came back. I'm talking about one of my aspirants from Mauritius. One day, he just bought the ticket, bought the plane, and came back home. The mother was furious when he saw him. What did you come to do here? He didn't tell me you are visiting. What brought you here? You know what he said? He said, Mom, I miss you so much. So if you really inject love in your child, they will not even think of going away for a long time. I had a case of one girl in New Jersey, when I was staying in New Jersey. This girl is 17 years old, very, very intelligent. She's going to college September. But you know what? All of the kids in that area, they're planning, going to stay in the dorm, go get a flat near the college, and all this thing. She told the parents, I am not going anywhere. I'll drive. She has her own car. She said, I'll drive to school and come back every day. This is where I'm going to stay. Okay. Yeah, so it's the mood of the parents, how we treat these kids, that can glue them in our environment. So in our communities, we have to practice love and care. The farming has given us the rudiments. Yes, any other comments? Any other comments? Okay.
Thank you so much for providing thank you for inviting lecture. I have a question from question has been asked.
Okay.
You mentioned in the beginning of the class by sense gratification. When we first thought of thinking another wish that was doing something wrong, so we subconsciously wish them, how can we then start talking for the forms? When we realize that the mom is telling us that we want to something, how can we remove that thought before it truly burns?
Yeah. It is not that. Thank you. What's her name? Champakalata. Okay. So here's the point. It's not that we should play a blind spot to some bad behavior of anybody. But if we do that in a loving mood, with love and affection, they will appreciate. In most cases, we are reacting. Love and affection in addressing someone's misdemeanor or misbehavior or acts that are not conducive for spiritual development is very challenging, because most of us, we respond to situations in the mode of we are reactionary to situations instead of being proactive. When we are proactive, we can address situations. We will not play a blind spot to unfavorable situation that we experience with somebody. But in most cases, we are not trained in that way. And therefore, like some of the acharyas, I know the case of Bhakti Swami Maharaja, he said, don't chastise anybody except you are their guru. Does it mean that a parent should not chastise their child? No. But because our relationship in most cases is official, and human beings, we don't want to be controlled. We don't want to be controlled. Rather, we want to control. And so we are reactive to a situation where we perceive that someone is trying to control us, or someone is correcting us. We feel this is the mentality behind. You're telling me this. What about you? You have this fault, you have this fault, you have this fault. Why do you correct yourself? So, if we have a loving disposition, affectionate disposition, we can always address situations in a loving way. And I bet you the person concerned will accept it. But in most cases, if the relationship is just official, I'm going to have to correct someone. Look, even that little boy there, you tell them, you try to give them order, hey, sit down here. That is the time they will get up. No, I'm serious. That's our nature, you know. We are like, we want to revolt. Okay, you tell me to do this, I'll do the opposite. I'll see what you do. So that makes it difficult. Our nature makes it difficult for people to help us. We are not open to correction. And in some cases, we seem to be even incorrigible. We can't correct ourselves, or we don't want someone to correct us. So it makes it difficult to help people. But if we have a good relationship with somebody, say your friend does something. I remember when I was in fourth grade and fifth grade, we had 3 boys moving together. And so when they do something, they think that because I'm their friend, so I should always support them. But my character was not like that. If they do something that hurts somebody, I'll tell them that this is wrong now. Come on, why are you acting like this? And they wonder, you're my friend, you're supposed to support me. I said, no, not because I'm your friend, I will support you. Said, don't understand that is my way. And because we are friends, we can't do without each other. So they take me for who I am. Each time I come up with this opposition, even in a harsh way, they accept it. Now, if I don't have any relationship with them, I can't even come to them and tell them, this thing you did to this person is wrong. You stop it. No, they will fight you. So relationship is the watchword. If we have a good relationship with somebody, we can be available to them. If we don't have a relationship with them, it will be very difficult, because we are wired in such a way that we will resist. See, it's a big thing. We call it, in management science, we call it resistance to change. We resist change. Even if it's a positive change, we resist it like anything. And so It's not that the person has a bad intention, but it's just the nature. Lord Krishna said that it's very difficult for us to overcome our nature. Yes, so it's not a personal thing that they just, or we feel they're arrogant, that's why they're not. No, it's not even arrogance. It's just the inbuilt nature of the condition. So makes us to be in a position where we are not able to accept the appropriate help at the right time. And so, except someone is in care of us, then they can give us instructions or even chastise that we will accept. But ordinarily speaking, in the temple, see, I live in the temple for 40 years, and I know it's the same thing everywhere. And even in the families, you tell somebody something, they will rebuff. Now, I remember I was telling, somebody in my family, when I met them when I was younger, I met them and then I was telling this girl something. And then, she said, but it's not my fault. What is this? It's not your fault. Whose fault? So we are very defensive. And my point is, if you have a good relationship with somebody, you can really help them to a very great. All right. I think that we can join this meeting. Okay, let's take the last one. Horrible.
Maharaj, you mentioned that then if we tell somebody to chant and we have to see that it's age appropriate or not, because if we tell somebody that you go back to Godhead and that's why you should chant, that's not why we should be telling. That's not the right reason that we should be telling them, because they won't take it up. So Maharaj, can you please help me to?
Okay. Yeah. The essence of the chanting is to attain pure love for Krishna. Pure love for Krishna means you go back to God at the end of this life. But some people who are not religiously inclined, they don't want to hear anything about God. So my point is that if we also have a broad-based knowledge about the positive side effects, we're talking about positive side effects of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we could use that as a tool. We could use that as a tool in helping people to connect with the holy names. Because people want to know, in some cases, what is in there for me. Not when I die. Next life. Like that, yeah. But that was my point. If the person is open and he has sufficient pious merit, why not? Tell them chant Hare Krishna and be happy, chant Hare Krishna. You go back to God. You're prisoners here, get up from this prison. They will accept that. And some people are just agnostics, atheists. People mostly are dealing with in management science field, they are agnostics. But the same thing they reject, if you put it to them in a way that is beneficiary, even right now, they will accept. Yeah, that is how the scientific views of Krishna consciousness penetrates areas that ordinary person may not be able to reach out. Because the same mantra is presented in such a way that it weighs on the positive side effects. Because some people say they are atheists, they don't believe in God. All right, if you really believe in God, you need good mental health. No. Okay, do this. It promotes mental health. These are the details. Scientists, researchers have conducted these studies, and this is the result of this, how it helps to mitigate stress, anxiety, depression, insomnia. So much work has been done on this very phenomenon. And so I was talking about the positive side effects. Just like every medication, every therapy or every intervention has some side effects. Like chemotherapy has side effects. The mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra, is also a transcendental intervention. It's a sonic intervention. It also has its own side effects. But the side effects are very amazing, wonderfully amazing. So for those who say they don't believe in God, we can talk about the side effects of the mantra, positive side effects of the mantra. And they will take it hook, line, and sinker. We've seen that. Yeah. Does it make some meaning? All right, thank you for your question. It's always amazing, and we should recognize this, that to ask a question is a sign of high intelligence. Anyone can answer a question. Not everyone can ask a question. I know when I was in graduate school, when I was doing my master, there was this course, they call it critical and creative thinking. Critical and creative thinking, professor brings 5 lines, just one paragraph, 5 lines, and asks you to generate 35 questions out of that 5 lines. So you have to crack your brain. Yeah. So asking a question is, it requires a lot of intelligence. So thank you everyone for coming. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Holiness Bhakti Vasudeva Swami Maharaja ki jai.
Such an amazing class.
Hey, my friend, come here.
Just take 1 minute. So he's making she's a Champagawai lady, guys.
Yes, your daughter?
I'm caretaker of her.
Oh, caretaker. That's good. Hey, your brother, I'm in love with your brother. You know? I like him. When I met him first time, he said he just 16 rounds, so immediately, you know, I got wired up because even in Mayapur, you hardly find kids like that. Maybe 1 or 2 kids of this age. So you have a Java. You have a first Java.